I use the terms feminine and masculine in this video, but please note they're not references to gender, and this is my experience, so just take what resonates with you. I like to understand why things happen as they do, so anytime I discuss something as a theory or a fact, I have a belief to back up why I believe it happens, even though I may not explain it in each video because I may have already explained it in previous videos. So for instance, everyone goes through the obsessive thinking after meeting their twin flame, but I'd never heard anyone explain why that happens. Okay, so yeah, everyone says it's a fear-based energy, and I do believe that's true to an extent, but it's the running and chasing that are fear-based, while the obsessive thinking has a similar purpose as the ego check, which is to help us take notice of our imbalances. So to understand why I believe one twin in particular initiates contact, I'm going to get into the why of it. So I'll start with running and chasing being energies of activation, which occurs after soul recognition. And you can come back and check out the video links provided that will give further explanation. And I do recommend checking out these videos, of course, because they are mine. No, not because they're mine, but one thing, they're of a different perspective than what's mainstream twin flame belief, but because I explain why things happen. And when you have understanding of the bigger picture, of the big picture, it can empower you. So the divine energy experienced at soul recognition transfers to the activation. Then divine energy purges the imbalances within both twins. And the way we come to see those imbalances is after that divine energy transmutes to those imbalances. So any imbalances that were there are going to be severely magnified because that divine energy is transmuting onto the imbalanced energies, and that's why the running and chasing occurs. And it's why it's far more intense than just being infatuated or experiencing limerence. Like everything comes up at once, and it's part of the reason why it's so overwhelming. And because that divine energy serves as a contrast to those imbalances. And this happens for several reasons, but one being that imbalances are brought to the surface to be recognized and later healed according to your guidance. So, one of the first messages I intuitively received after I opened to my spiritual path was that the more spiritually focused twin, who I call the feminine intern or FI, because I don't use divine feminine, divine masculine out of context, but the feminine intern or FI leads the spiritual growth of the journey, while the masculine intern, or MI, leads the physical growth. This is contradictory to mainstream twin flame beliefs, which declare the divine feminine leads the entire journey, that it's up to the divine feminine to do the healing, to be the one to focus on themselves and the self-love, and to go through the spiritual growth and take on the whole journey. And the divine masculine will follow, but may not even be aware. No, what I believe is that the shared soul is in this together. Why would only one be going through this if they share their soul? It's a spiritual journey. I do believe the feminine is the awakened one at first because it's the feminine energy that's long been suppressed and dominated and is awakening to self-love, to be in soul. And that's another reason why the masculine specifically initiates, because they have to be the one coming to the feminine to bring balance to that shift of power. And that's another reason why the feminine is usually the chaser and the masculine is usually the runner, because the feminine also brings balance when they surrender to their divine energy. And as with most everything in this journey, there are many reasons why things happen, but it all comes together in its divinity. And I have another video where I discuss celibacy and that shift of power if you want to check that out. Then the masculine would get left out and imbalance would just go to the other end of the scale, in my opinion. So I do strongly believe that if you share your soul with this other person, they're going through their thing too. It's different, each have their own path and roles, but they are going through it too, unless they're stuck in activation, but that's another video. So during our journey, we'll go through spiritual growth cycles and physical growth cycles, with each having their own role. With the feminine, in turn, awakening to the journey first, they're led to balance their physical world, which is their mind, body, and emotions, with their shared soul through more spiritual practices, while the MI is led to balance their physical world with their shared soul through more 3D related aspects. What we experience with and through our twin at soul recognition is how we're meant to be when we're in our balance with our soul and our twin, because we share our soul with our twin. Soul recognition actually shows us on an energetic level what we're meant to be. And through our journey, though at soul recognition, our mind, body, and emotions are not aligned to our divine energy, we're gifted it. We're gifted that divine energy. So we can know what it is to be in divine energy, to be in alignment. But through our journey, we come to grow into that physically by balancing our mind, body, and emotions into that. It reflects in our journey and in our union. That being said, as union gradually moves in, the feminine has detached from the matrix twin, who is no longer actually the so-called matrix twin, because the masculine has mirrored the growth of the feminine. So the masculine is in the lead and has detached from the matrix. Not that they've experienced the same spiritual and physical growth, but experienced the same energetic growth, which can have some similarities from our 3D perspective. And remember, the feminine experiences more spiritual growth, while the masculine experiences more physically or 3D related growth. And not that the masculine has detached from all things of the 3D world, but detached from the matrix conditioning. Balancing the 3D world with the shared soul is actually one of the masculine's purposes and will be unique to their 3D balance with the shared soul. And there's even deeper mirroring going on here, where the masculine is opening to healing from matrix conditioning and learning how to balance their physical worldly aspects with their soul, which is healthy, it's high vibrational, but they're detaching from the matrix conditioning, which is low vibrational or unhealthy. And the feminine reflects that by detaching from the matrix conditioned energy of their twin, which was low vibrational for them, but still has a place in their heart for their person, and through unconditional love, they hold space for them, which is high vibrational. So that's that energy reflecting. So the feminine mirrors that detachment, but they're not actually detaching from their twin, but the matrix conditioned energy that they picked up from their twin during their journey, during the feminine's journey. So it's the energy of who their twin was as the matrix twin. And the feminine picked that up from the masculine because the feminine moves on to their spiritual journey before the masculine is turned on to theirs. Because the masculine could still be going through activation, and there's a reason for that. But while the feminine is undergoing spiritual growth and healing, they can sense the wounded masculine energy before the masculine begins to go through their healing. So when the masculine detaches from the matrix conditioning and the feminine detaches from that old matrix twin energy, then soul recognition and the journey will be mirrored in union. The feminine surrenders, seemingly detaching more from the masculine, and the masculine surrenders, opening to their guidance and returns to seek out the connection with the feminine. And just like it's soul recognition, the masculine initiates, they take action, and the feminine opens, is receptive. But this time they're not gifted with the divine energy, as is what happens when the soul recognizes itself in each body. But both twins are individually, uniquely, physically balanced in their divine energy through their growth from their journey, which is soul alignment, because both are able to balance their physical with their spiritual, with their higher self. And that's why we have a higher self, to show us how to live in this physical world while being in our spiritual design. That's proof to me that union is not only 5D, but the path to union, which is physical and spiritual. So that's why I believe the masculine initiates contact at soul recognition in our journey, such as with reunions and coming into union, because each person's physical energy is coming to balance with the shared soul. And as that happens, their physical, feminine or masculine, balances with their divine energy. So the masculine will be action oriented and giving, and the feminine will be secure and receptive in these moments. And also, soul recognition, our journey, and union all mirror each other.